Good evening, this is Hound Dog Steve, wishing you a very pleasant evening and welcome back to all of you. And I'd like to go through 3 or 4 articles that I picked up. It started off actually with a humorous joke, a tweet about Jeremy Corbyn, where his head had been basically photoshopped onto a large chicken, and they sent off a tweet out to KFC saying, hey, we've got a bigger chicken than you do. And anyway, there's a response from KFC, which is kind of amusing, but when I scroll down, there's some other issues with the British government and the use of chicken, and this is to put knife warnings, because there's been a real increase in the number of knifings in England over the last 5 years, and so they put notices on fried chicken boxes, like a feel-good story about somebody who'd left a life of crime and turned their life around, and also a warning, not to go out and stab somebody. And I mean, in a very dark way, it's kind of amusing that you would even think that you can resolve knife problems by putting warnings on fried chicken boxes. Well, of course, this raised a whole outcry because of the connection between coloured people and eating chicken. Anyway, you'll see as I go through that little piece. I just thought it was completely bizarre. It shows you the level of denial that we have reached in our world today, and of course the language. The politically correct language situation, and you're going to see that I'm going to have to spell out some words. One of them is Faggots, as in the dish or a meatball, which was banned from Google because of the connotation, even though when you do a search on Google for this particular dish, there are several recipes come up and there's no problem at all. Anyway, this woman who owned a restaurant had her ad taken down from Google because of this. When is this going to come to an end? One of these humorless algorithms who do not understand context, that are roving all over the internet looking for bad words and wrong think and wrong speak, and misinterpreting all kinds of things, because of course we all know life is very nuanced. So again, I would ask you, ladies and gentlemen, is this how we want to be governed? Is this the kind of world that we want to live in, where all of our speech is monitored for any little slip, any little mistake? And as we can see by people who have made mistakes, that firstly, going back into your past is absolutely no problem at all. Going back 10, 15, 20 years into the past to find one little slip, and then there's absolutely no forgiveness. As if these people who are judging have committed no sins. And as it says in the Bible, maybe that'll be banned for saying the word Bible. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. But it says that, well, who's going to cast the first stone? You or me? Who's going to cast the first stone? Because there is none of us are blameless. And the last little piece is just completely over the edge, bizarre. I can't believe that it's even out there. And this is a fairly reputable scientist putting forward the most bizarre idea you can ever imagine. Okay, so let's go check out those articles and I'll come back and do a quick wrap up. Okie dokie, here we go. From RT, don't at me, KFC bites back at Tories after Bojo's party uses them for Corbyn attack. And here we are, Jeremy Corbyn, JFC totally spineless chicken. The Tories have been mercilessly roasted by fried chicken fast food chain KFC after PM Boris Johnson's party tagged them on a Twitter in a political attack on Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn. The Conservatives tweeted on Friday, "Hey, at KFC_UKI, we found an even bigger chicken than you," and attached to the Photoshop picture of Corbyn in a chicken costume were the words "totally spineless chicken." However, the fried chicken specialist responded to give short shrift to the Tories' attempt to include them in a political debate as they fired back, "This is KFC, not LBC, don't at me." LBC is the leading Britain's Conversation, the radio station that focuses on UK politics. Okay, so we scroll down here a little bit and it says it would appear the UK government has a particular taste for all things chicken at the moment. In August they launched a new strategy to curb knife crime by putting anti-stabbing messages on takeaway boxes of fried chicken in several restaurant chains in England and Wales. Critics denounced the initiative as racist due to an age-old trope of linking black people and fried chicken. Okay, then I came across this from Moon Battery, fighting knife crime with racist chicken boxes. Due to a massive demographic displacement by the violent third world, knife crime has been skyrocketing in Britain. Children are often the victims. The number of children aged 16 and under being treated for stab wounds in England rose more than 60% in 5 years, figures suggest, amid a disturbing fall in the age of knife victims. The biggest increase was among 15-year-olds, with the number being treated for knife wounds in 2016 and 17 up 85% on 2011 and 12. The British Home Office has hit upon a new strategy to curb knife crime by putting anti-stabbing messages on a box of fried chicken takeaway in several restaurant chains in England and Wales. Chicken boxes are to provide inspirational stories of youths who have rejected knife crime in favour of glamorous careers in sports and music. Unfortunately, this ingenious plan has hit a snag. Prominent Labour MPs of African extraction, however, denounced the plan as racist. Shadow Home Secretary Diane Abbott called it a crude, offensive and probably expensive campaign that demonises her community. According to the Moonbat religion, it is blasphemous to associate blacks with fried chicken. Leftists were quick to do exactly that by assuming that the messages were put on chicken boxes to target blacks. This allowed them to whimper belligerently that it is discriminatory to notice that the vast majority of knife crime is committed by imported people of colour. And this again from RT, the world's gone totally mad. Google censors offensive ad for traditional FAGGOTS and peas dish. And you will note the childish way that I have to adapt my language so that I don't get censored myself. A British restaurant owner is furious after Google's offensive content filter took issue with an advertisement for a traditional regional dish, mistaking it for a homophobic slur and deleting the ad for its hateful content. Jo Evans-Pring, owner of Fanny's Restaurant Cafe in Wales, saw a welcome boost in sales after buying a number of ads through Google. But she was soon informed that there was a problem with one of her adverts. The tech giant took umbrage with a traditional lunch offering, Fanny's FAGGOTS and peas. I posted an advert on the website for Fanny's FAGGOTS with peas and onion gravy, a pretty traditional meal and one of my favourites. But the next day I got an email from Google saying they'd removed a post of ours, Evans-Pring said. And here is a list of all of the things on offer at Fanny's Restaurant. And here is the offending line right here with chips. Google referred Evans-Pring to its policies explaining that inappropriate and offensive content was prohibited, but the cafe owner was flummoxed. While the company has gone after ads from dodgy ad developers and for unproven medical treatments in recent months, food items are a less common target. In fact, a Google search for FAGGOTS and peas brings up dozens of recipes clearly recognised by the search engine as a genuine dish. At first we found it kind of funny, she said, but ultimately we're furious by the decision. Someone has made a decision that's affecting my livelihood. The world's gone totally mad, Evans-Pring said, adding people need to spend their time dealing with real problems, not things like whether or not the word FAGGOTS when selling that meal is hateful. Popular in parts of Wales and the English Midlands, FAGGOTS and meatballs are made from offal and minced offcuts and are often served with a side of peas. The meal has no connection to the homophobic term of abuse, yet Google's content filters, unable to detect context, have apparently deemed the dish bigoted, even if its search engine disagrees. And there you go. Is that the kind of world that you want to live in? Not me. And this is completely bizarre from Zero Hedge. Swedish behavioural scientists suggest eating humans to save the planet. A Swedish behavioural scientist has suggested that it may be necessary to turn to cannibalism and start eating humans in order to save the planet. Appearing on Swedish television to talk about an event based around the food of the future, Magnus Söderlund said he'll be holding seminars on the necessity of consuming human flesh in order to stop climate change. Environmentalists blamed the meat and farming industry for a large part of what they claim is the warming of the earth. According to Soderlund, a potential fix would be the Soylent Green solution of eating dead bodies instead. He told the host of the show that one of the biggest obstacles to the proposal would be the taboo nature of corpses and the fact that many would see it as defiling the deceased. Soderlund also acknowledged that people are slightly conservative when it comes to eating things they are not accustomed to, such as cadavers. The discussion took place accompanied by a graphic of human hands on the end of forks. Lovely. Another proposal to save the earth, which has been promoted by numerous mass media outlets and environmentalists, is only somewhat less disgusting: eating bugs. No doubt Greta Thunberg and Prince Harry will be the first in line for when cockroaches and human flesh is being dished out at the next International Climate Summit. But what is completely bizarre is this picture. Look at this. What on earth are you saying here? I mean, the fact that you can actually do this is like a Marina Abramovich show or something in New York. Unbelievable. Anyway, they're trying to sell it to you folks. I think I'll just stick to hamburgers instead. Oh, maybe there's minced up hands in there. Oh my goodness. So as I say, it begs the question, what kind of society do we want to live in? How do we want to be governed? Are they the outcomes that you would want to see? Because when I look out of my window, I see people who are fighting with each other over things that needn't be fought over, building up animosity where there should be cooperation and agreement. I see major decisions being made by unelected officials who seem to be bungling every single decision that they make, either overspending or it doesn't achieve the objectives or it is just completely out of line. And there is no public intervention allowed. You know, I just see that we are going down a really poor path because we are assigning the decisions to people who may not be the best people to make those decisions. You know, why aren't we picking from the entire gene pool rather than assuming that a certain few elitists are the only ones with all of the answers? And as I say, looking around, when you look at the SAT tests, when you look at the schools, discipline in schools, the sort of education that children are coming out with, the fact they can't read and write properly, IQ levels are dropping. I mean, it's just absolutely unbelievable. The infrastructure is a shambles. Everywhere I look around me, I just see poor management and bad governance. And I think we're probably reaching a point now where we might all be able to agree that that is actually the truth. And you realize it every time you drive down a road in your car, or every time that you go to your elected official with some kind of issue or problem that you're seeking some kind of resolution, and you suddenly realize that you are trying to wade through just layers and layers and layers of bureaucracy that may eventually solve the problem, but in the meantime has cost an awful lot of money, and of course you may have died in the process, okay, because it may have just taken that long to actually make a decision. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video and got something out of it, and if you did, please like, comment and subscribe below. And in the meantime, this is Hound Dog Steve signing off, wishing you a very pleasant evening, and we'll talk to you very, very shortly. See you now. Bye.